All right, everybody, welcome back to the Move podcast. I'm Lance Armstrong, sitting next to JB Hager, Mr. Moto King himself, George Hincapie, and a special guest today who is going to read our RoadID Tour Trivia contest. We'll get to that. We are talking about stage 16 from...
Well, first I got the rest day.
Oh, it's a great point, JB, because in our babysitter, Tiffany, stressed this morning. I think she's right. That the rest day feels like it's a week long. Like it feels like it's been a week since we've done this show, but it hasn't. But the rest day was...
Rest day is in Nîmes. So I repeat, Nîmes. And I think the legend said that the pants you're wearing are coming from this town. It's called denim. Anyway, it's a legend.
How about that?
That's amazing. And stage 16 was...
From Nîmes to Nîmes. Stage 17 is...
Nîmes to Nîmes.
Nîmes to Nîmes. One big loop. Yeah. One big hot and windy loop. Man.
Thank you, Alain. He took good care of me yesterday as well.
Alain. Yeah, Alain was on the moto ride yesterday. By the way, because when we get to business here in a second, for RoadID, I mean, even for that sport, I mean, this high country dirt bike riding is super sketchy. George, dude, I said it on Instagram yesterday. I've never seen you that nervous, but man, I was like, damn, he is nervous.
Yeah,
but
I was.
So tell me what you guys went to do. I mean, you went on.
It's like high country riding. So we start here at 8,000, we get up to like 11,500.
But on dirt bikes.
On dirt bikes,
on motos.
George was on a KTM 250. I was on my KTM 350. There was about 8 of us.
But how often do you do this?
I've never
done it before. I was on a borrowed KTM 250. The sheriff was kind enough to tell me I was going to end up in the emergency room the night before. So
how often do you ride motorcycles?
That's why I was so nervous. Never. But I had a great time. I was trying to keep up with these guys.
It wasn't my idea.
This guy never rides motorcycles, and you're taking him out in the mountains?
Talk to Jimmie Johnson. He's the one.
It was the first time in our 30-year history that this man has ridden past me on a downhill on something with 2 wheels. It's never happened before.
But he does the paragliding, and now this. It's like, dude,
it's his rest days. He's going out there on his rest days.
I had a very full rest day. I did a great ride for the Aspen Valley Ski Club in the morning. Did a 50-mile ride. My son joined. Jimmie Johnson joined. Got back and then went dirt biking with these guys for 4 hours.
Wow,
quite the day.
Are you sore?
I'm very sore. He's trying to knock me off my game for Sunday.
Part of the strategy for the pre-50. All right, so in another news, stage 16, it took me 16 stages to actually predict the winner, which is I'm really happy about, but I'm also pretty embarrassed about. 2 days ago, which again felt like a week ago, I did pick Caleb Ewan, all 5'4" of him.
Yeah.
You think he's done growing?
What I found really funny today was he's a lot more efficient today in the sprint because he called his sprint very inefficient. So he actually thinks that Caleb listened to Lance.
Well, his rear wheel didn't come off. It didn't
inefficient.
Yeah, it didn't come off the ground today.
I think he's got it dialed pretty good.
Yeah.
He doesn't need tips on sprinting?
No, I don't think so.
Before we get to that, let's take care of a little business. I just touched on RoadID. Today's show is brought to you by RoadID. What an idea. I mean, and why didn't we think of this idea, I think is a better question. Like when you're out riding on the road or the trail and anything can happen, right? Out on the road, you can, incidents with cars or just crashes, accidents. And, you're not always guaranteed to be conscious. And so the first people there need to know all this critical health information and contact information, like who to call, who to reach out to, not just 911, and also blood type and just things like that you want to know. And as I just said, I mean, the sport of what we were doing yesterday, I mean, people get really messed up. Ed and the team over at RoadID, I think we're missing a little segment there. So I think we go...
any sport that's risk and you're potentially on your own.
Yeah. No, when you're out there alone and somebody's going to find you knocked out, you're going to want them to know this stuff.
Crossed my mind many times yesterday when you guys were like minutes ahead of me.
They're not going to know
out there.
Dude, good job, man.
I'm impressed.
Yes, very impressed. And also, obviously, we read about it every day. They're our tour trivia sponsor, and we have a special guest going to read that today. So go to roadid.com to get your. Am I missing a code there? Jimmie? I don't think so. Anyways,
I don't know.
Yeah. No, we don't read that. Oh yeah, just go to roadid.com. I mean, it's an amazing idea, and also thanks to the team over there for sponsoring our daily trivia contest. Also today, an FYI, the Hollow Can is back. It has been a minute since George, since this man. Your skills aren't going to freeze up today, are they?
Nope, just going to be a little chilly, but it's going to be good.
Okay, good. The Hollow Can, brought to you by High Brew Coffee, is back. They are also, thank you to them for also supporting the show. High Brew Coffee, cold brew for those who do, was in previously 6 different flavors. Now there's the 7th. I say it every day. The triple shot is my jam. 3 times the caffeine, 11-ounce can, sugar-free, cold brew for those who do. Go to highbrewcoffee.com, use the code 20THEMOVE for 20% off your purchase. And I can't wait for George to break down this sprint with the Hollow Cans. Don't freeze up, man.
Just tell me when you're ready.
We're going to get to that. We'll get to that. Anyhow, exciting day. I mean, a boring/exciting day, I thought. Boring in the sense that it's one of these transition days, which is what we have to have. Had the obligatory breakaway that never got that far, brought back like they always are. But the heat, some key crashes.
3 GC guys go down.
Jacob Fool, my initial pick, out of the race. I'm talking about a hand or a wrist. Nairo Quintana, a crash. He's not even in the race anymore, basically. But Geraint Thomas with a crash that hats off to NBC and the crew for catching. That crash hurt. And you see anybody, and I'm still trying to understand, George and I don't necessarily agree on what happened, but when you see somebody, quote unquote, high side like that, so he's turning right, and normally if you're turning right, you would slide out and crash on your right side. When the bike then, the tire catches and you flip, happens a lot in MotoGP, and then land hard on your left side.
You come down hard.
I'm telling you, he gonna feel that one. And we talk about it all the time, and this is what our source at Ineos said at the beginning. He just crashes a lot. And this is already, his third?
This is what makes the Tour de France so hard. I mean, a day like today where you're not really expecting anything. Of course, it's a hot day after the rest day. I mean, you just can't lose focus. And it's hard to say exactly what happened, but I think I'm agreeing with Jens Voigt. What he said was he might have just touched the wheel in front of him and just lost it on that turn. But you got to stay focused. It doesn't matter what's going on in the race. It's the last week of the Tour. People are tired. They're going to start making mistakes. That's a tough blow for Geraint because he's obviously not. Everybody's saying he's not going quite as good as last year, but he's still in there for the fight, and he's going to need all the luck he can get. And today was not a lucky day for him.
No, and I still. It's almost my theory in watching whatever footage they could catch was that he just oversteered. Somehow he oversteered, and the corner wasn't that sharp. It was a soft bend, and he overcooked it. And the front wheel caught. What?
I just thought, how do you oversteer on a corner like that? Well, if he did, then he really screwed up. Yeah.
It was just like magic.
I just think we missed him rubbing the wheel in front. We'll see a video.
Rubbing the wheel in front. The guy was
behind him.
Yeah, the guy was a bike length ahead of him.
It was weird.
He was on a wheel. He was on his teammate's wheel.
No, it looked like his teammate behind him, and usually the guy in the back goes down.
Under any circumstances, him overcooking and turning too hard
on his own
on a turn like that. I mean, that would be crazy. That'd be like me on the dirt bike yesterday, like the spaz out there. So,
you say he crashes a lot. What is that? Is that fatigue? Is it just not being an alert rider all the time? Is it your teammates not protecting you? Or
frankly, I'm surprised because typically the guys who come from the track, which he started out as a track rider, as did a lot of those guys that come out of the Great Britain program. Though typically track riders have the best skills, and in a group. Just sort of comfort on a bike. Normally you would think they would crash less than anybody else.
Mm-hmm. A lot of pressure and fatigue setting in right now.
You just said that. And heat. What else did we notice today?
I know we're saving George's breakdown of the sprint, so let's not talk about Caleb Ewan too much until we get to that. But other stuff, what's going on with Enric Mas?
George has the source.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out, whether there's some drama in the team. But my guy says that he's just completely exhausted and he's got nothing left in the tank, which is kind of hard to believe for somebody who's got second place in the Tour of Spain. Perhaps there's a lack of motivation right now. I don't know. It's hard to say, but on TV they said that he sat up today to save energy for the Alps, but he will be a key figure in helping Alaphilippe. If they can get him to somehow rally, I mean, he can make a massive difference.
Is he leaving Deceuninck Quick-Step? I heard that.
I have not seen that.
That's what I heard, and we talk about it every day when somebody's leaving the team. It just kind of creates some bad blood.
Yeah, but he still has a job to do. So we got to. I think if he rallies, it's going to make the race even more exciting to have him there at the end with Alaphilippe, because he's clearly capable of being there in the final 5-10 guys on the climbs, which is what Alaphilippe really needs right now.
We spent a lot of time talking about Deceuninck Quick-Step, morale on the team, the power of yellow, the excitement. They're winning. They've had an unbelievable season.
Alexander Vinokurov had an interesting quote when he talked about the power of yellow. George, you read it to me.
Yeah. He said something like he understands the power of yellow, makes you a stronger rider, but he didn't know that it will make you fly, which was interesting. We're probably not going to get into that right now. We could later on. But I do find, and we were in a very similar position in 99 where we were just a bunch of punk kids, not knowing, having any idea how to protect the yellow jersey. Up until then, we basically trying to finish the Tour de France, get a top 10, top 5 finish, and all of a sudden Lance wins the prologue in the Tour de France, and we're sitting up there in the front. Talk about stress, but you do rally around something like that. I mean, I've seen people just give every last bit of energy they have in their tank to protect their leader, even though they hadn't been there before.
Right.
I mean, that situation really elevates the riders, and I've seen it firsthand. So I think we'll see that from Deceuninck this week.
You're missing one real critical part here, George, and that is that we, despite us being the bad news bears and the total underdogs, and I mean, I wore number 181. That just shows you how highly we were ranked. We brought a team to win the Tour de France. We didn't bring a team to support a sprinter like Viviani or to support early stage wins and get a jersey and then be out of the race. We brought a team to win the Tour.
Yeah.
Nobody thought we could. We didn't think we could, but we built the team to do that. Right? They didn't bring a team.
Easy now. I was going for the sprints back then too. I wasn't a Viviani, but I was getting a couple of top fives.
I didn't want to.
And actually, Christian gave me a hard time the other day when we were talking about this exact same situation. Where in 99 we did the Passage de Gois and we put 7 minutes on Zula, and Christian was giving me shit because him and Ekimov and Frankie were up there pulling their ass off, and Johan let me sit in for the sprint that day, which
Really?
Yeah, he did. So Christian was like, you sat on the whole time while we were putting 7 minutes on Zula.
I sat on too,
and I had forgot about that. Yeah, clearly you had a reason, and I got probably like 5th or 6th place, but so we weren't like 1,000% behind you. We had other goals, but towards the end we definitely got behind them. But the point is that we all kind of like did more than we ever thought was possible to protect that lead, and I think we'll see the same this week.
I think a conversation worth having, and I think you guys both have a lot of intel in the peloton, and there may be a leadership issue at Ineos that they haven't had as formerly Team Sky. And you think of the leader as their director, and you shouldn't overlook what a real team leader is like for the whole staff.
Right. And my source there says that it's that Chris Froome is really, I don't want to say their favorite leader of the team, but it's the guy.
He's a good leader.
He is a good leader. He's the one that they rally around the most. He's the one where the morale, when they're working for him, the morale is the highest. And according to this source, that despite having 2 guys in the top 5 and 2 guys that could actually win, that team morale is at an all-time low, which is, think about it, right? And so it says a lot for Chris Froome. But it also says a lot about what's going on at that team and whether or not. I always say it every day. I mean, you could walk by every dinner table if they were all in one hotel, or you could just if you could just listen in, what the next day is going to be like. You sense and feel the energy. You sense and feel the camaraderie, and we always, in 7 years we had.
It reminds me of when Cav was on Sky and they were working for Wiggins and all those guys, and here we are. Cav was world champion at the time.
Your favorite person in the world.
Favorite person. one of my favorite people in the world. We missed you, Cav, by the way. But
I love Cav.
He would come to our dinner table.
Cav needs to retire and be on Eurosport.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Can I tell my story?
Sure.
So Cav was world champion, and you see him going back for bottles for his teammates, and that was tough to see. And I know that was tough for him to not be the man on the team, and it messes with the ambiance amongst teams. When you don't have. When you're not really sure that should be your role. When he was world champion at the time, one of the best sprinters in the world, and he's going back and getting bottles and pulling tempo for his guys. He clearly didn't like that, but he would come by our dinner table on BMC, be like, "You guys need a sprinter for next year." It's quite funny.
There was big talk that he was going to BMC. That was the main speculation.
Well, he's on BMC bikes right now.
Right, but when he was leaving Sky, that was wasn't that the main? I meant to ask TJ the other day because he went from BMC to Education First, and he told us that he had, as a youngster, was on that Rabobank program that is now Jumbo Visma. I wonder how close or how many. I mean, you would think you'd have conversations with them too. If you know them, they know you. No saying. I don't know. I thought about the other day after he left. Yeah, I know. Nobody cares.
Is he around? We'll bring him back.
He does. TJ does want to come back.
Yeah,
we're gonna bring him back to the mountain.
Yeah, I thought he was great. Shout out to him. I mean, he can be pretty quiet and introspective, but that he shed a whole new light and perspective on the inner working. We don't know. We're not sitting. You don't know.
He did.
Mm-hmm. You ever been in the Tour Peloton?
Nope.
Yeah,
I think I missed my window.
Yeah, I do too. I thought he was great.
No, I just think that the leadership of a teammate is dawning on me of how critical that is, just like a director. We talked about Viviani out there working for Alaphilippe. I mean, that's leadership.
I'll say it again. He's leaving the team. He has all the rights to say, guys, I'm fried. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And
we saw today DeKooning was not doing all the work early on. I was surprised, actually shocked to see Jumbo Visma pulling so early on for even though they have one of the favorites for the sprint, but come on, they have a real shot at winning this overall race with Groenewegen and Kruijswijk. For me as a director,
my new pick.
Yeah, your new pick. Lance's new pick. For me as a director, I'm like, guys, Groenewegen, you should be on your own today. Maybe give you one spot. There's plenty of sprinter teams that have not won races yet that should have the responsibility of bringing that breakaway back. But I would have saved my guys for this final week. So I was surprised to see them at the front working so much.
Well, before we get to George's Hollow Can,
the sprint breakdown,
coffee, you know what? And this just goes to show you how rusty I've gotten over the rest day. I say it every day. I hate rest days. And I clearly didn't go hard enough yesterday, so I'm off my game. I forgot to mention that this show is brought to you by Patron Tequila. My Patron. You want to know who my Patron of the day is? My Patron of the day is Caleb Ewan's baby. I guess him and his wife just had a baby.
Yep.
She had the baby. Mm-hmm. They had a baby. And he talked about at the start how excited he was for his family to be there. And I mean, I'm kind of joking around, but I'm not. Like, if you know your family, you haven't seen them, you know your new baby's there. It's another. By the way, he's sprinting at 40 miles an hour.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's the difference between 39 and 40. I mean, it's really inspirational and motivational to have your family there. So, I know the kid. I don't know how old the kid is. Probably not 21, but that's my Patron of the day, the baby,
for being an inspiration.
Yeah, for making the difference.
If your family
making the difference.
If your family motivated you to win, the directors would have everybody's families there.
Who's your Patron of the day?
I mean, I got to go with his dad. I got to go with Caleb. And if you read his comments,
how do you know it's a boy?
That's great. I thought they said that.
Oh, did they?
His dad. Okay.
I thought it was a little girl.
But clearly
Whatever.
he's coming off one stage winner ready. The pressure's a bit off of him to perform, but he said, the team was working for him hard today. He did not feel good throughout the day. It was a really hot day, really tough day for him, so he wasn't sure how the legs would react. But man, that sprint, which we'll try to cover on the Hollow Can, was quite impressive.
And the kid has, it's a whole life is going to know that when it's like 11, is going to be taller than his dad or her dad. Today's show is also brought to you by PowerDot, the most effective, mobile, efficient E-stem unit on the market. This one, and full disclosure, we over at Next Ventures are investors here. We love this product, and when it came to us through some friends and fellow athletes, I realized that this was a game changer. So for those people who are on the move and traveling a lot and just want something mobile and compact, this is your answer. And so it starts at $199. Any sort of ache or pain or recovery or even just basic recovery, it absolutely helps. You've been using it. I've been using it.
Yeah,
George needs it. I mean, you ought to have this on your hips.
My
you ought to have it on both hips.
You know what's funny is a couple people I know have picked it up just since the tour started, and some last year, and they send me a note or I've talked to them. They're like, "Hey, this thing really works," and I'm like, "Do you think Lance would talk about this?"
We're not talking about anything that doesn't work. I promise you that.
Right.
There's nothing.
I said he would not if it didn't work and they threw buckets of money on here. He would not do it.
We're not doing MeUndies. I promise you. You will never hear MeUndies on here. Starts at $199. For our listeners, want 20% off, go to powerdot.com/themove, enter the buy code THEMOVE, powerdot.com/themove. Today's show also, and lastly, brought to you by, what's up? Roca. How you doing? Somebody asked me yesterday, and I should know, because we were motoing, and my goggles were all messed up, and I don't think they make goggles. So if they don't, Rob and crew, George and I need some moto goggles. Yeah. But you guys, thank you for the exclusive move-colored glasses, right? So the orange socks, the forward etched into the lens, all us. These things are flying. I know I look like I'm flying right now, but they're flying off the shelves. Started by athletes for athletes in a garage in Austin, Texas. And also, too, if you haven't seen their Instagram or even my buddy Tim Kennedy's Instagram, go check it out, because Tim is a special forces guy who I've had on the forward before, and super interesting, intense guy. Was also an MMA fighter, had a TV show on Discovery Channel. They've got quite the gym set up at Roca. You see some of the footage of him working out over at Roca.
I'm gonna have to go visit that.
Yeah, it says the guy who lifts every morning. This man couldn't lift this morning because he was so hurt from his motorbike.
I still did. I did like a shorter version of my workout session. Yeah, the motorbike crushed me.
Bunch of riders in the tour, bunch of top level professional athletes that they sponsor. Go to Roca ROKA.com for 20% off your first purchase. The buy code is THEMOVE. Actually, no, sorry, Roca.com/THEMOVE. 20% off your first purchase. But if you want these, you better hurry. Grace, you want a pair? Yeah. Oh wait, I blew the surprise on our trivia contest reader. Just got a text here on my iPad. The Caleb Ewan's baby's name is Lily. I think it's a girl.
Yep. Sounds like it.
I can't lose today.
And the patron of the day, Lily.
Patron of the day is Lily. So Lily, when you're 21, we'll send you some tequila. Let's break down the sprint. I'm interested.
We're ready?
Let's do it. And we're not ready. It doesn't matter if we're ready, because we're just going to sit here and watch you.
Just a few observations, because we haven't done the hollow can in a while. First thing I noticed was
make sure the mic is.
You might need to stand up.
Okay, I'll stand up. I'm sorry. I got to keep it down. The first thing I noticed was since DeKooning was kind of saving, I believe they were saving most of their guys for the rest of the week. They weren't doing like the 3-4K out lead out that they usually do, so it was kind of messy in those last roundabouts. Guys sitting up, guys going everywhere, super chaotic. But once
keep in mind, I'm sorry to interrupt, there was a roundabout with 380 meters to go,
which they cut through the middle.
No, the final round, the previous one they had cut through the middle. The final one was an actual roundabout. I just think, and they finished in front of like a strip mall.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to throw in corners like that. Dangerous, but that's a whole nother segment. Markov and Ricchese did hook up here with Viviani with about 800 meters to go. Markov did his typical awesome lead out, which is super impressive, by the way. This guy, they have both been on the front working for Alaphilippe for over a week now. So for them to still have the speed in the legs, did an awesome lead out. Here's where the move happened. Markov pulls off about 500 meters to go. Ricchese does an amazing lead out with Viviani right on his wheel. With about 200 meters to go, you can see Viviani kind of hesitates for a second, looks to his left and wonders, who's going? Should I go now? That slight hesitation allowed Caleb Ewan come from 6 behind.
At least
6 behind. They're going 40 miles an hour here, or 38 miles an hour. Caleb Ewan takes a jump with 6 people behind in the wind, while Viviani takes out half a second hesitation looking to left to see. Ewan comes with momentum and a ton of power. They both end up going. That hesitation cost him the race, in my opinion. Caleb Ewan pimps up the line about half a centimeter. But the speed he had and the distance he came from behind was truly impressive. And that slight hesitation by Viviani cost him the race, in my opinion.
And then Caleb Ewan said,
I don't know what he said. What did he say?
he said, see you in the douches.
Oh, see you in the douches.
See you in the douches. I was waiting for it.
See you in the douches move came from 6 back at the Tour de France. You rarely ever see that from so far away.
I mean, it shows you he's fast.
So, guy's got a ton of power right now. He's going to win in Paris.
How is
You heard it.
how is a guy that small, no offense, generate so much power?
It's just so aero. I mean, think about
He doesn't have to generate power.
It was like
he does, but not as much
as
as
much.
Milo
and I'm going to
Very
get shit for this, but I'm going to go back to Mark Cavendish. His sprint was not nearly as high wattage as his competitors.
Right,
I mean,
of course
he
not.
was at like 1,300 watts, which is a lot of watts, but not compared to the
Greipel.
the
Bigger
Greipels
guy.
that are doing 1,800 watt sprints. But Mark Cavendish was so aerodynamic and so efficient in the peloton that sprint made him the best in the world.
I mean, think about in the day Mario Cipollini. I mean, Chippo was 6.
Yeah, he was probably
3.
doing 1,800
You
watts.
have to.
as well.
You just have to. When you're going 40 and you're 6'3", hello,
Yeah.
you can figure it out. Like in these little pocket rockets, like Cavendish and Caleb Ewan, also Viviani's
Yeah.
packed in there tight. So it's Cav. I will say, I mean, Cav was like. I think he is the one who started. And I don't want to call it a trend, but he was the first of the pocket rockets.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's do our RoadID trivia contest. Our special guest today is somebody I love a lot, and her name is Grace Armstrong, and she is, how old are you now, Grace? 17. Are you ready to read this trivia? Don't be nervous, babe. Come on in. Let's do this. I'll get up. I don't want you sitting on my lap. That'd be weird.
Should give like an applause. Come on, Grace. Good job. Yay.
All right, G-Love. We like to call her G-Love. Have a seat, young lady.
Thank you.
Love you.
Yeah.
Don't screw up.
There's a star right there.
All right. It's time for today's daily dose of RoadID Tour Trivia. To play, head over to roadid.com/France. Today's question. In 1986, 3 out of the top 4 finishers were on the same team. Who was the odd man out? Go to roadid.com/France to answer this question and score a chance to win today's daily prize. A tax bike trainer. One lucky winner will even take home a $10,000 BMC shopping spree. Again, that's roadid.com/France.
And here's your 4 choices.
A. Bernard Hinault. B. Greg Lemond. C. Andy Hampston. And D. Urs Zimmerman.
Woo. Good job. Radio voice.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Where did you just go to the website and type
Yeah,
it in?
you already told them what to do. You're good.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
Have a
Good
day.
Have a
job.
good one.
You did awesome.
Thanks, Dad.
Good job.
We're not done with our special guest reading the RoadID Tour Trivia Contest, by the way. I'm just saying.
By the way, props to Grace. The other day, her and her friends did like 4 big climbs.
Yeah.
I saw them on Smuggler, and that was like the last one of the day.
Was
'Cause
it
I
like Tie-Hack? Highlands?
Butt Kayak, the Ute, and Smuggler.
Wow.
How many
You'll take
total?
Julia with
Like
you next
that took all day.
Yeah, she doesn't wear a GPS watch. These.
Oh,
Oof. Yeah.
If you're gonna do all that, you
Okay,
should
have
get
fun.
the credit on Strava or something.
Have Strava. I don't use it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, have a good day, babe. Love you. Let's talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow's an interesting day, and for the I have a lot of memories of the tour. The memory of finishing into Gap in 2003 is probably on my podium in terms of memories, and the terrible crash that Giuseppe Bellocchi had coming down, and just 5-6K before the finish, where he too high-sided. Right?
Yeah,
That's exactly what happened to him.
His
That front
tire rolled.
just grabbed on hot pavement and just high-sided and broke all kinds of bones and essentially ruined his career, or effectively ruined his career. And I was lucky enough to find a few. Anyways, you people have probably seen it, but just one thing to note: this is not that finish. This is the same finish town, but a different coming into town from a completely opposite side of Gap. But the heat is on, and not a flat day. I mean, a day for the breakaway. It's my call.
Yeah.
I'm going Thomas DeHint. I'm not just going to say.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm not just going to say breakaway, but I'm picking Thomas DeHint, the man who hates massage.
So, I have that's a good pick. Thomas DeHint's been really aggressive. I'd love to see one of our 3 Americans last in the race that are
Great point.
arguably some of the best breakaway guys in the peloton. Ben King, who had an amazing Tour of Spain last year, from courses such like Tomorrow. Joey Roscoff, super strong. Used to call him the king on my team, and then Chad Haga. We got these. I'm pulling for these guys to make a breakaway in this final week.
No pressure.
And, everybody's exhausted at this point. It's just there's a lot of luck involved, but these guys can make the breakaway that'll stick. And I believe that all 3 of them got a good chance to make the breakaway and hopefully win a stage before the end of the race.
What was it? It was Roscoff we saw get 10th in the TT.
Yeah, Roscoff got 10th.
And then Chad Haga won the Giro TT.
Yep.
So
And
they can motor.
He was top 20 in the time trial as well. So they still have some gas left in the tank, and I'd love to see them make a breakaway.
Just checking the weather. Y'all know I love to check the weather. Typical of hot summer days somewhere in and around the mountains. Starts out sunny, ends up 90 degrees with scattered thunderstorms. Just those summer, heat caused. I sound like I'm a meteorologist or something, but calling for thunderstorms. So that always, downhill finish in the thunderstorms. Never know.
Yeah.
Still
they were
going.
also they were saying in the heat too, they were drinking 6 bottles an hour. I found that kind of hard to believe.
Taking 6 or drinking 6? Because I think you take 6 and you drink. Maybe if you drank
toss half
3,
of it.
you the other 3. You saw a lot of guys.
Yeah,
do it, not just having
that would make sense.
the cold bags or the ice bags on their back of their neck, but also just dumping a ton of water on their head. Right. So 3 and 3. Some variation.
You can only absorb so much water every hour anyway. So
Yeah.
they're probably pouring it over their heads.
Yeah. Before we let y'all go, we have another special guest. Shoot.
And a Spar update before we go.
Spar
'cause
update.
Somebody might have screwed up.
Well, no. I know he rode. He rode 50. He rode more than I did yesterday.
50 miles.
He did 50 yesterday. I did I don't know, not much, 20. But I did enough to meet my 10-mile requirement.
So I need credit for my 50 miles.
You get credit. I know for sure you rode. At least I didn't see you riding, but I think you did. But, yeah, we're still in it, man. In it to win it.
Yep.
I'm confident I'm going to make it. So our special guest, who's just slid into the Move studio, is Miss Lucy Diaz. How do you Diaz?
You got it,
Diaz. And Lucy is the race director of the Colorado Classic,
That's
which
correct.
of course we know in the past was a men's event and then a men's and women's event, and now it is women only. And not only is it women only, but us here at the Move, I don't know if we can rope George in. Maybe we can.
Come on,
Well,
George.
I didn't get the invite, so I mean I can a little bit
well,
insulted.
consider
but-
this your official invite,
Yeah,
George.
but
Well, thank you.
the Move will be covering the 4-day Colorado Classic, August 22nd to 25th, sponsored by Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
Not the magazine.
VF Corp.
Yeah, tell us about it. What are we going to be watching?
Well, you're going to be watching a really exciting event. And as you mentioned, Lance, we were a men's race and then a men's and women's race. And this year we decided to go all women's. And really, we saw an opportunity to elevate, to be a part of the elevation of the sport and the development of the women's side of the sport. So excited about being able to do that here in Colorado. So August 22nd through 25th, it will be a 4-stage all women's race. We've got 16 teams. 5, you'll see some good local representation also from Colorado. Avon, Golden, and we finish up in Denver. So field, great climbs, great routes, super. What we're really excited about this year is working to create a platform for women's racing. And Europe has done some great things, and there's obviously a lot of amazing races in Europe. But in the States here for stage racing, we're doing 2 hours of live TV each day, which is not always a given on the women's side of the sport. So being able to do that, putting up a nice prize purse of $75,000, supporting the women while they're here with hotel and travel and really being able to provide a platform for the athletes to do what they do.
In the state of Colorado, I would think they're very supportive.
Yeah, huge sponsor of the state, and we've got some great host city support as well.
What a good time to be a woman in sport. Like, I mean, the Women's World Cup, you see tennis. We were just, before we went on, we're watching swimming. You see amazing athletes like Katie Ledecky, and just a cool time. And just in the other day we were in Boise, we had Kristen Armstrong on the show, who's
and we saw
superpower.
I'm sure you were pretty the U.S. women's win the World Cup.
Yeah.
Just because it's the vibe of supporting women right now.
Well, and the timing is.
Did you catch at the end of the game they were chanting equal pay in the whole stadium, equal pay.
Sure.
I didn't catch that.
I mean, that's
They said that in France.
Believe it or not. They said it in English, but
I think there was a lot of Americans.
that supported it.
But think about it. I don't think anyways.
How will we be able to watch the race?
So it's going to be a live stream.
Okay.
You can watch it on our website, and we'll have a lot of other syndicated partners as well. We're Fox Women. But the idea is to give the content to people who want it, be able to get it out there.
And who are our favorite? Hopefully go for the overall.
Well, we can't announce it yet,
but
there's a big announcement coming
All right,
up here,
okay,
George. We'll let you announce it here.
That Kristen Armstrong's coming back to cycling and going to win a gold medal again in Tokyo.
I didn't say that.
I'm saying that.
He tried to talk her into it.
Yeah, right? I know. That'd be awesome.
Kick my
Kristen,
ass
you're
for
officially
4
announced.
hours. You're not even going to go win me a gold medal? What?
Made usually are.
Exactly.
But obviously the TV time, the people tuning into the stream, that's what the sponsors see.
Sure.
They're going to see their logo, and then next year they're like, okay, more money in because it is getting the coverage. I mean, that has to be the progression, right?
Absolutely, and that's really our vision, is to create the sustainable model that grows and doesn't just come for a year or two and leave. So
Which is
sponsorship is a huge piece of that, but also it's bringing the crowds in and bringing the community together to say, oh, women's cycling, I'm not really into women's cycling, but you don't know until you're out there and watching it. So that's really a focus of ours as well.
And another cool thing is Vanity Fair, and I touched on it a second ago, not the magazine, the parent company of a bunch of other huge brands, the North Face, Vans, Smartwool, Timberland, moving all of their companies to Denver. So
the outdoor brands are coming to Denver.
Yeah, so North Face goes from San Francisco to Denver, Smartwool goes from Steamboat to Denver, et cetera, et cetera. So, this is right in their backyard.
Absolutely. Yeah, and they're doing it from a, they don't make cycling clothing, they don't make bikes, cycling socks, you can say, from Smartwool's perspective, but they're really doing it to support the sport and really to support the underdog in the sport with the women's side. So and they're proud of it, Colorado, and the fact that they're here as well. So.
Yeah, big.
That's great.
Big move. Lucy, we'll see.
Thank you.
I guess we'll see you August 22nd.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here today.
Always stay we've yet to figure out how we work this, but in Steamboat, I'm really getting off topic, but I will only ever stay in one place, and it is the Rabbit Ears Motel. It's like right when you're driving.
I'm familiar. I think some of the teams are staying there. So don't worry.
I love.
Sounds fancy.
It is not. I know. It is not fancy. The door is on the outside, so it's awesome. I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to see anybody. Get straight to my car. But the best thing is that on the little desk in every room is they have the postcard. The sign out front is this neon big rabbit ears, and they have it's a photo of the rabbit ears, the sign, and so I always send this postcard to my kids. I'm just saying.
Very thoughtful.
Well, we'll make sure we get you a room there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it looks fancy. I'm looking.
I will
Thanks.
never ever. I will. This is the only place I'm staying. The rabbit ears. I'm saying. Look at that. See? I mean, how?
There it is.
I mean, I'm a simple man,
I wonder if we stayed there.
right, George?
I don't know about that.
Are we doing any questions today, or
We can. Would
okay?
you
Let's
like
do a
to?
couple. Just
All
stay
right.
there, Lucy. You can stay there.
I'm not-
Yeah,
Yeah,
stay
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Maybe they have questions for you.
There we go.
Greetings from Germany. Great show as always. Like to listen to both shows about Emanuel Buchmann. Even in Germany, the public starts to recognize that there is a race in France with a German in the top 10. So what are your thoughts on him? And I guess Johan knows every result of him. That's from Stefan.
Yeah. Well, and NBC highlighted this as well today and actually interviewed him. I mean, he's the one. Yeah, you're right. He's one of the 6 guys who can still win the bike race, and nobody talks about him. Yeah. And it's interesting coming from Germany because our era had the Germans were so good. Jan Ulrich and Eric Zabel and Team Telekom and
Floaty.
Andreas Kloden, who's forgiven me for being the world's biggest dickhead many years ago. That we have that on the record. But they really turned against cycling. I mean, the main ADR, the main broadcast there in Germany, they dropped the tour. And so to have a kid back in the hunt in a sport with most think a real cultural change is cool. Like, he's there. And so our bad. Nobody talks about him.
Yeah. And you saw his interview today. He seems just happy to be there. He's happy with his form. His goal was to be top 10 in Paris, and here he is, one of the last man standing. So he hasn't really shown any weakness up until now. So I'm excited to see how he'll go in the Alps.
Yep. What else?
One more question. This is a total softball, and cyclists get it all the time, but it's fun. Hey.
We need to get him on the camera. Ready to go.
Jimmie, Lucy, stay there. Sit somewhat next to Lucy, and then look at this man. No, sit closer. Your wife will never see this.
I told you there was no chance we would make 11:30.
I understand we're supposed to ride at 11:30, and my thing here says it's 11:38. I'm sorry.
I'm going to move his mic.
And then I'll be getting yelled at that I'm not ready because I have to ride all the way back home, and he just goes straight to his house and gets ready.
Normal stuff? Just for 1 sec. No, I'm taking your
mic. You're sharing the microphone. Jimmie, Lucy, Jimmie. He drives cars for a living. Can you believe it?
Let's ask Jimmie what his thoughts are on the tour so far. Exciting tour?
Yeah, I was able to catch some of today's finish too, and it's been highly entertaining.
Yeah, that's right.
I wake up each day and turn it on, and can't wait to see the finish.
Yeah.
It's been cool to see the team piece break apart and be more about the individual. It's been really cool.
Yeah.
Can you take Danny Hamlin on a bike?
Yes.
Okay.
I like that
you
you called
showing
him
him
Danny.
watching the tour today.
I like you called him Danny Hamlin as well. That's even better.
What's his name? Denny?
Denny.
Whatever. Danny. Sorry, Danny.
Oh, shoot. All right, let's what's our last question? Sorry.
I didn't mean to bust up your deal.
No, it's all right.
You did.
Yeah.
That's all right.
This is awesome.
At least you didn't bust up George yesterday on the
Did
dirt
they
bike
complain
ride.
about the bikes at all and how sore they are? Did you hear any of that?
I'm very
there
sore.
was some
I'm very sore.
complaint.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did talk about that.
But George still lifted this morning. It's fine. It's just good.
All right, like I said, this is a softball, goofy question, but we get it a lot. For years, I've heard that pro bike racers believe shaving your legs the night before a big effort is a no-no because it zaps your energy. Where do y'all land on this? Is it an old wives' tale or settled in science? Also, although I've stopped racing bikes for about 4 years ago at the amateur level, I still ride and still shave my legs. I can't bear the sight of hairy legs. Now that you two aren't racing, are you wild and woolly or still sleek and clean? That's from Jack.
So, wow, Jack. I've never heard that it zaps your energy. I mean, I think you just for these guys racing, just shave your legs when you shave your legs. But wow, no, I haven't shaved my legs since I stopped. I'm not this man.
Well, we got a big race coming up on the 28th.
This man shaves his legs. He trains like a professional.
For that.
He acts and eats and regimes like a professional. Shaves his legs like a pro.
Shaves other people's legs from time to time.
But the thing about me is
I think you should shave for Sunday.
Like, I don't have a lot. Y'all guys and gals can't see, but I don't have a lot of hair. But you see hair. Like, I just don't. I can't grow a beard. Like this fine man right here. I mean, rocking the beard is a little grayer than it used to be, but.
Now, swimming is a big difference. I mean,
swimming is a big difference, yeah. But and the other question we get a lot is like, why do cyclists shave their legs? Why is it aerodynamics? Is it for a look? Is it and I think that or for massage?
Yeah. Or for when you crash, road rash.
Easier to clean the wound. It's really all those things.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of all of them, I think aerodynamics is the least important. Or maybe I'm wrong about that.
Or mentally it feels faster, right?
Yeah. I don't need to shave my legs. George remarks every day about how my calves they're coming back just in time.
There's a post yesterday. You guys looked pretty shaved and oiled up in the boxing ring.
Yeah, that
was doctored up a little bit.
That was just our faces. All right.
Wait, these two guys, I don't know if you know this, Jimmie, these two guys are going to race the Aspen 50 course.
Yeah,
let's
ask Jimmie.
You ride with these guys all the time. What's your pick?
Who's
I
your
haven't
pick?
been close to him this trip to even see who's got the edge. So
I love the
that's
fact
not
you still
true.
have your helmet on.
We descended.
I'm ready. I told you.
I was going to mention
Safety
it.
first.
We just sent a deadline together. Where was Homeboy after the descent?
Closer than we thought he would.
He was closer.
Closer.
He was closer.
Yeah.
And yesterday on the dirt bike, he was not afraid to tear
No,
down some.
he blew me away.
My
on the dirt bike.
DNA is related to greatness, as the
Yeah.
tour knows. I repeat, my DNA is related to greatness. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Before we go, this hat, I'm just saying, we made this hat. Actually, I gave credit to Mark Higgins for the idea of making this hat. He corrected me and said it was actually his son, Sully, who was like, Dad, why don't you do a camo hat? So we did a camo hat. We made a lot of them. They all sold out on the first day before lunch. So they are now back in the We Do shop if you want to. And we got a lot of men, where's the camo hat? Well, it's back. So just FYI.
Yeah, an unexpected hit. Well, I guess it was expected. Mark knows what he's doing.
No, Sully knew.
Sully knew.
Sully Higgins knew.
But has been reordered. And you can still sign up for the membership if you want to get coverage of the race on Sunday.
Yep.
Sunday morning, before we even do the show. And send your questions and comments to, if you want to ask something to Lance, George, both of them, or Johan, the show that we do immediately following this, send those to TheMOVE@wedo.team.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in. Now we can go biking, Jimmy.